fans. We are here in the podcast where we explore success stories, and strategies for personal and professional growth. Hi, I'm your host. My name is Alfred, and today we have a very special guest. Joining us is Gan Chin Kai, or we can call him Jin. Hi, Jin. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Right. Let me just introduce you our guest. Jin had an illustrious career in an entertainment and technology industry, producing award-winning films and TV programs and spearheading innovative ventures. Also, congratulations, Gene, on your recent achievement of signing the deal to represent 500 books IPs. Wow. Welcome to Function. Right,
Thank you.
Gene.
Thanks for having me join you guys.
Now, thank you very much for gracing us in this learning experience with a successful person like you. All right, Gene. Um, just exploring your stories. Can you give us like a brief background of what you do and what are you doing right now? And yeah, just a brief overview.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So I wear a few hats, right? But primarily, the main business I've been involved in for the last 20 over years is I'm a film producer. So I produce movies, I produce TV content for audiences worldwide. So that's what I've been doing for the longest time. But that's not what I studied. I actually studied technology. I stumbled into the film industry and I stayed in there. But what has always happened is while I'm in the film industry and excited about it, right, this whole thing of technology always is something that I'm interested in, right? And during the pandemic, right, when everything was shut down, and when I couldn't be flying around to watch over my film projects, I decided to explore more into technology. And then, so what I did was I launched a new startup where we built a metaverse. So that's my secondary business that I'm involved in right now.
Oh, wow, thank you very much. So you mentioned about entertainment, TV programs, and with all these films, right? Can you give us like a brief journey, incredible in pursuing this career, and then what inspires you to pursue this path?
Yeah. Well, so actually, I never grew up wanting to be a film producer, right? That wasn't any of my aspirations at all. So what happened was, I after I finished school, I worked for my church for a short while, and then after that, with some friends, we thought, hey, let's start a cafe. And I was young and I was foolish, and well, the cafe was fun, but then we knew nothing about running a cafe, and that didn't work. Right. And so in desperation, the few of us partners, we were saying, okay, what shall we do next? Right. And then one of my friends studied film, one studied web design, one studied banking. And I said, well, let's just start a business that does a bit of everything, right? We'll do web design, we'll do filming, we'll do advertising, we'll do events. And so that's how we started, right? And that company carry on growing, and we're running that out of our cafe, and then the cafe was still bleeding. The other business, the entertainment business, started growing, and said, okay, well, let's just chop off the cafe, right? And as time go past, we streamlined that company. We remove web design, we remove event management, and remove advertising, and we just focus on filming. So I was together with the other partners in there for quite a while, right? But after some time, we decided to pursue different directions because they were always more interested in the corporate projects and in the local projects. And I was always more interested in international co-productions, more interested in storytelling, narrative, and all that. And so I set up my own company called Silver Media Group, which I'm still running right now. Yep, so that's how I stumbled into the film industry, and I stayed in it for so long. Even though that was not my dream to start off with, I enjoyed it a lot, and so I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So it's quite a lot to digest there, but it was like before just trying and figuring out what to do, right? But
Yeah.
within that, 'cause some people nowadays, even like younger generation, they are confused of what
mm,
they want to do. Even like for example, coming from school, they don't know do they want to be a doctor, architect, or an engineer, right?
mhm,
But
mhm.
I'm just curious, at what point you discovered that this is your dream, this is your passion. Although you come from a technology background when you study and you move to a film, what was that time wherein you actually said, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is what makes me happy in doing it?
Okay. Well, I think I have a slightly contrarian approach to this, right? A lot of times, people say pursue your passion, but I don't know what's my passion, right? And also because I don't think a person need to only have one passion. I think passion is something that you can develop over time, right? So for example, I didn't have a passion for film. It was born out of desperation, right? The cafe failed, and so it was born out of desperation. We started this, but as time go past, I started enjoying it more and more and more, and now I guess now I can call it a passion, right? Because now I do love it. So it wasn't pursuing my passion, but it was finding passion in what I do. So I don't think we are all born with one passion and one passion only. And if we don't follow that, we'll never be happy. I think as human beings, we're very adaptable, and as human beings, if we're willing to open up our minds, we can learn a lot of things, and we can also learn to enjoy different things. And as much as I enjoy film right now, I do think that if I were to stop this business right now and start pursuing something else, which may not be my passion, over some time, and if I really devote myself into it, I'll probably find myself loving it, right? So for me, it's about finding passion in what I do. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. So you just mentioned that about your passion for what you do right now, and you said that you can stop or you cannot stop. I mean, it depends on what will be the next step on your journey. But along the way,
Mm.
you mentioned that you started with a cafe, and then having a lot of different business along that. So with that journey, and then now focusing into to one endeavor, right? But through that journey, what are the challenges that you face, and how did you actually overcome it? So, like for example, how did you decide which business going to remove, and then which one is going to focus? And then along that way, did you ever think of giving up and then okay, I'll just focus on to what I study in university or in college?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I think tackling what we study, right? Uh, I think if we were to just do a simple interview with multiple people, right? Go talk to 50 people or even just 20. What did you study and what are you doing right now? And you'll find that actually maybe 50% or even lesser than 50% of people, what they studied and what they're doing right now is different, right?
Yes.
I had to think through my friends, think through my family members. Most of them, what they studied and what they're doing is very different, right? So doesn't mean we shouldn't study, right? Studying is a way for us to really learn to think, learn to analyze, learn to calculate, learn to do a lot of things, right? But I think along the way we find our passion, and even along the way, because of our age, because of different situations, right? Our passions may change, right?
Mhm.
And or we develop new passions, or some passions become more important, right? At one point, it may be career. At another point, it may be family. At another point, it could be friends, children. So that changes all the time, right? And there's also something called Maslow hierarchy of needs, right?
Of course.
Once you achieve something, what you pursue next changes.
Changes.
So I think passion is important, but I think passion shouldn't be what controls us. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So saying that passion should control us, and you said that education is still important. I've been seeing a lot recently in social media. People are asking people, right, saying that which is important? Is it your degree, your diploma, or you being a street mark? Because some people will say, "Oh, Mark Zuckerberg didn't even finish college," or even Bill Gates didn't even finish college. but compared to
mm,
Elon Musk, has several degrees, right? So
mm.
for you, what do you think is important? Is it the diploma, degree, or just being street smart?
Well, I think it depends on the country, right, that you're working in.
Mm,
And I'm generalizing, right? I'm totally generalizing, right? In Singapore, for example, uh, because of the nature of our society, right? Uh, Paper qualifications are very, very important, right? And I know in some other countries is viewed differently, right? Where being street smart or having certain skills or even interview skills or how you handle things may be more important, right? So it depends on the society that we're working in. It also sort of depends on the industry, right? So for example, in the entertainment industry, right? Uh, to me, it's not the education, the portfolio, right? Uh, right. What the short films they've done, right? What the poster designs that you have made, what because grades don't tell me how skillful you are in certain things, right? So it depends on the society you're in. It depends on the industry. But by and large, right, I would encourage people do get your diplomas and degrees, and because it generally that's needed. But I do and in terms of even my hiring, right, when I hire people, right, I have uh let go of people who are more highly qualified academically wise, uh, and hired someone who's smarter, street smart, right, and more adaptable because I felt like the other guy he worked better as part of a team. Has got it appears like he's got better work ethics and all that. Yeah. So, but all things being equal, right? Uh yeah, it's always good to if let's say both are can work as a team, both has good work attitude and everything else, then of course I hire the one with the better paper qualification, right? Yeah, so I see it as a sum of many parts, right? Yeah.
right. Yeah. I think I see what you mean. So, for example, you can't be a doctor without education. You can't, do a surgery without a education. For example, in technology, if you don't, I mean, you will still need to code if you're a developer or you're a web
Yes, that's right.
designer. How will you know the program, the background? So yeah, I see
Mm.
what you're saying. Thank you. So okay, for example, a lot of these confusing people, whether different age, young or old, they don't know where to go. Does it ever? Did you ever get a mentor to help you to go through this direction?
Um, Not a fixed or sort of permanent uh, mentor. Uh, I think one of the issues was because in a lot of things that I was doing, I was pioneering, right? So, for example, in the entertainment industry in Singapore, it's not a well-developed industry, right? So when I started out years ago, I was among the pioneers, right? So it was hard to find a mentor. While a lot of production companies were focused on doing local projects, I want Singapore is too small. I want to look at working internationally because I want to have more eyeballs, right? So we were the first to co-produce with Indonesia, we're the first to co-produce with Korea, we're the first to co-produce with Sweden, first to co-produce with India. So we were like pioneering a lot of things. So again, that was hard, and then after that, I went into media financing, and there weren't anyone around that I could talk to. So not any fixed mentors, but in all this quote unquote pioneering work that I was doing, of course, there were other people elsewhere who have done it before, right? I'm not the first in the world to do a co-production, right? I'm just among the pioneers here in Singapore. So then it was just learning from different people who's done it before in other countries, right? So I talked to this guy who has got this information to give me. I talked to another guy who's got this advice to give me, and talk to yet another person who can tell me about this. So not one fixed mentor, but definitely a lot of helpful advice from many helpful people who are smarter and more experienced than I am. Yeah. So good if you're one mentor, but if not, look for many people to to give you help. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, interesting idea. So, probably we can conclude from this one is that if you can't find a mentor, just be coachable, right? Find the resource
Mhm.
that could help you. Thank you. So you
Mm.
mentioned that you find the help from different countries, different people, right? So collaboration is the key to this success into your many endeavors. Can you share some of your international collaboration that has been instrumental in this journey? Like, a big project that, really made, big success, and that you find yourself, okay, all right, this is it. I made it.
A project that I'm very proud of. All right. Okay. Let me just share two projects, right? That I'm proud of. Okay. One of them hardly made any money. It made very little money, right? So it wasn't a commercial success, right? But I was very proud of it because of other reasons, right? Firstly, it was a co-production in Cambodia. It was first co-production between Singapore and Cambodia, right? So it's never been done before, right? And at that time, back then, Cambodia didn't have much of film industry, right? So when we were filming there, we couldn't even find the equipment that we want. Okay, so we had to bring equipment from Singapore over to Cambodia, right? And in that process, we helped set up a proper professional equipment rental company in Cambodia. So we helped set up something right, that wasn't there, right? And it was hard to find actors and all that. And in the process, we helped train local actors. But what was really great was it was a film that tackled human trafficking, right? The story was about human trafficking, fictional story, but we did a lot of research into it. Um, and what made me most proud of it was the impact the film had, right? Because of its message, UN Women, right? That's an NGO, right? They uh, use it as an educational tool. They use it as a fundraiser. So that charities premier, which they raise money with that. We had screening at different schools and universities, and we had panel discussions after the screenings, and and people were impacted by it, right? And that made me feel very proud. I mean, yes, I've achieved success with it. I wish we make more money out of it, but we didn't. But then it made me really proud, right? That the film make an impact, and not only that, I mean, make impact, well, to make the world hopefully just a little bit better. But also we helped grow an industry in Cambodia through our film, right? Help kickstart the industry. So that was something that made me proud. Uh, uh, if we talk about commercial success, one of the recent commercial success is a co-production with the Philippines. It was a horror movie called Eerie, and we worked with a Filipino company called ABS-CBN. It became Philippines' second highest grossing Filipino horror film. Right now it's no longer second, right? Some other film has overtaken it, but it did well commercially. We had great reviews, people who enjoyed it a lot, who praised the film, and yeah, super proud of that one as well. Yeah.
I did actually watch that movie, Eerie, and I told you like the
Uh-huh.
actress over there is one of the most popular. Even now, actually, a lot of people still
Uh-huh.
remember that film. Actually, when I spoke to
Mm.
you the other day, I mentioned it to my family, and they said that they did
Mm.
watch the movie, and still popular in Netflix. That's what my sister says. People still watch it. Right. So
That's good
congratulations
to
again.
hear.
Yeah. Uh,
Thank you.
and then
Thank you.
congratulations. I mean, even with the Cambodia project, I think what was important on that one was the human touch. And then I think
Mm.
the again going back to passion, you deliver the film. The goal is to create a film, but more than that, because of your passion, it creates more not the money, not the financial, but to spread the message to people and help them educate to be educated. And I think that's more important, how you reach your success and share it to others. And thank you for that,
Thank
Gene.
you.
uh, And then
Thank you.
earlier in your profile, we saw that recently you achieved that 500 book IPs. What inspired you in this initiative? Again, you have the intention to be successful in films, and now you have this. How do you see these IPs turn into movies, animation, games, or other forms of entertainment?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so what we see is that good IPs cross platforms, right? We have Lord of the Rings, which started as books and then became movies, right? And then Harry Potter, same thing, from books to movies and all that. And then of course we have things, like Barbie, right? From toy it became a movie, right? And then of course we also have movies that become books. So really games that become movies, Resident Evil and all of that, right? Silent Hill. Good IPs do cross platforms, right? Really, I think a lot of times people just think of a certain platform, right? A certain format to tell a story. And as we start growing in the industry, right, we are always exploring new ways to tell a story, new ways to reach a different audience, right? So as time goes past, people start to see the importance of intellectual properties, right? And so this is evolution, right, of from a filmmaker to looking at other entertainment formats, and right now to look at, okay, but what's the genesis of it really? It's what's created in the brains, right? The intellectual property. So for us, creating Hip Studios, right? That's the new company we set up for IP management. Creating Hip Studios is really to achieve that, right? How do we help creators to bring this intellectual property, this idea that they created, into more formats, right? So one, it is a way to grow even as storytellers, right? Now, how do you reach a different audience base, right? Two, it is a way for them to find new ways to monetize what they've created. Because a lot of times they're familiar with one format, they don't know that they can actually make money with that same IP through other formats, right? It's really giving creators more chance to make money out of their work, right? It's really hard enough being a creator, right? A lot of times they talk about poor struggling artists. How can we help the poor struggling artists make money, right? Through other ways that they may not be familiar with, right? And thirdly, is also to have something that work for audiences, right? New ways for them to see what they love right now being told in a different way, right? What they're familiar with, what they've enjoyed right now being expressed in a different platform. So we see how this is sort of a multiple win-win-win situation for everyone, right? And that's what Keep wants to do, right? To really see what else we can do with this masterpieces that people have created, and how can we bring them in a different form to audiences.
Oh, yeah, that's very, I think the most advanced thinking that I've heard recently. Exploring this, the which is one the creators industry right now. A lot of people are just focusing on social media, but like what you said, there's so much more than one venue, right? But again, connected to that one, you get founded several successful companies. Even during COVID, you thought of a metaverse, being a forefront of innovation in this industry. Can you share us more about your entrepreneur journey and your vision behind these ventures?
Yeah, well, I think behind a commonality, right, among I think there are two commonalities among the different ventures that I start, right? One is I can't sit still, right? So I'm always wanting to start something, right? I always want new adventures. I like the challenges because every new venture makes me think, okay, there's this problem, how do I solve it, right? I think, yeah, okay, some people call it torture, but maybe I'm just uh, masochistic that way, right? Yeah, but I enjoy. I see this as adventure, right? Just to push myself to learn new things with each of these ventures. That's what sort of what drives me. But another thing commonality that I have with all of these businesses is I want to see how can I widen my impact, make the world better, right? I want to find new ways to do that. I used to see film as one way because media has a ability to impact people, to touch people, to shape even how audiences, how society works, and how society thinks. And that's why with the films that I make, right, not only do I hope it entertains people, I hope people take away something, right, some kind of
Mm,
message, like education. Hopefully, it makes the world just a little bit better. And that's what I wanted to do with Web3, with the metaverse as well, right?
mhm,
How do we use technology, right, to multiply the good impact that we can have in the world, right? And that would be the same thing I want to do with every venture that happens in the future, right? Or even the IP management company,
mhm.
right? I want to see how can we help creators to monetize what they have, right? And at the same time, again, they are telling stories, especially the stories that make the world better. How do we give it new platforms, right, to be seen by more people? Yeah. So very much of what I do is really how can I use these different ventures to hopefully make a small difference.
Right. Basically, solving world problems in small things, but on a bigger purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, that's what I strive to.
All right. So again, like you said, this fuels you this type of motivation, new challenges, new ideas, right? Keeps on keeping your toes, keeping to your toes, and then keeping up your energy. But a lot of people, right, are afraid of changes, right? Can you share us, key lessons you've learned throughout this career that give you the approach to innovation, being responsible, and then being a leader of this forefront of new technologies, new ideas. Because a lot of people I see even having a hard time, taking that first step to do the change.
Mm, yeah. Well, I sort of see it as uh there are problems, right? There are always different problems. Things can always be done better, right? And what I always see is that people like to grumble about problems.
Yep.
Oh no, I don't like this. Oh, I don't like that. And everyone grumbles about problems. And I do that too sometimes, right? We keep complaining about those problems. And those problems will always be there unless someone tries to solve it, right? And I always think, right, why am I complaining about it when I'm not doing something about it, right? Why do I want to join everyone in just complaining about it, right? For example, right, if we talk about co-productions, why did I pioneer a lot of co-productions? Because every Singapore producer or every other Singapore producer, Singapore is such a small market. Singapore is such a small market. It's like, why are we grumbling about Singapore being such a small market and will never become a big market anytime soon, right? Even if we multiply 10 times our population, Singapore probably will sink, right? It's too small, right? Unless I move out, right? But moving out means change. Or so I can move country or I can move my productions to a different country, right? So I could grumble about it or I could do something,
Right.
right? Same thing about intellectual property, right? A lot of times people think, oh no, yeah, what else can I do with what I created? Or even people are stealing my ideas, right? How can it be protected? How can we are poor struggling artists. How can our work be more appreciated? We can grumble or we can find solutions, right? So I feel like the innovations, the changes are because there are problems, right? And I feel like sometimes I do join the group who grumbles, but I think yeah, I sometimes we need to step out of grumbling. Sometimes grumbling is fun, but it bonds us together because we're suffering together. But hey, suffering together bonds us together. But in the end, hopefully we can together find solution, right? So
Right.
so that's what pushes me because I feel like a lot of problems can be solved if we just decide to dare to face it.
Oh, thank you. Well, I guess grumbling is a human nature, but how you use it sometimes it helps. Well, it's either it helps or it doesn't. It stops you from doing things. So sometimes when you grumble,
Yep.
it starts a brainstorming, right, within the team.
Yep.
Basically, you're
Yeah.
throwing ideas, and then what did you said, right? Something like
Yeah.
that. So right,
Yeah.
I guess, like, yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah. 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 And hopefully we join grumbles that result in something. If not, we are just bitching and not
complaining.
achieving anything out of it. Yeah.
Exactly. But right, so yeah, so you've been always the forefront of innovation, and you've got all this idea. But what was the mindset when you were young? So again, this goes to people who wants to start business, to become an entrepreneur, to venture to a new career. Like you said, like IPs will give opportunities to those people who have got talent, who's got intellectual property itself to cross platform. But what was that mindset when you were starting that you can share to people who will be watching this podcast, um, to help them, right, take the big leap and then bring them to where you are right now?
Yeah. Um, Advice: ignore the naysayers because there's going to be so many naysayers, right? It could be people at home, right? It could be fellow industry practitioners, right? I remember when I was young, right? First naysay would be my mom. Why are you bothering with all of these things? Why don't you just do what everyone else is doing, right? Take the safe path. Yeah, but yeah, so I was always that rebellious son, right? So yeah, ignore the naysayer, right? No, sometimes advice is good, right? And of course there are times when I ignore good advice and I knock my head against the wall and then I should listen to advice. But then we need to learn to differentiate between advice and just people who's negative, right? And what we do see is that there are a lot of naysayers. One, people who just like to grumble, right? Or two, people who are afraid of you succeeding because they're not succeeding, right? They couldn't solve the problem, and sometimes you solving the problem makes them look bad. Right? Or sometimes because they have experience already, and here you are, a new upstart coming and telling that things can be done differently. It hurts their ego because this is how it's always done. That's why I'm a leader, and here you are telling me it can be done differently. So there will always be naysayers, and I think and sometimes it gets to us, right? When too many people tell you no, it cannot be done, and then you start wondering maybe what they say is right, maybe what they say is true, or are they just being negative because they don't like me, or being negative because they want to protect their own interests? Sometimes it's hard to figure it out, right? But we should of course really analyze through it, think through not just it's very easy to just hear the positive, right? But even the naysayers, the negative, what they say, also to analyze through what they say, doesn't do what they say makes sense, right? If what they say makes sense, maybe there's something to learn from it. But if it's just them being jealous, if just them being negative, if it's just them being protecting their own interest, if it's just them being not wanting the industry to change, right? That we ignore it, right? And we try to move forward. Only two possible outcomes, right? One, you succeed and yay,
Yes.
or two, you fail and then you go back and yes, I'm sorry, you were right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So again, I mean, here with function, with team clarity, you always ask this question. Again, you said about, people will say this, say that, right? And then sometimes it's a good advice, sometimes it's not. And you say sometimes it will make you successful, or, you win, or you just learn, right? But
mhm,
with two words, the words clarity and success, can you give us your insight? How, just put it in a sentence. How does this clarity and success go together, and how did it help you, right, reaching your goals and becoming successful like yourself right now?
yeah. Well, I think clarity is important, right? It doesn't always present itself from the start, right? So if clarity is always there from the start, a lot more people will be successful, right? But I think we have to seek clarity by humbly uh, asking around, seeking advice, and carefully analyzing as objectively as possible, so that we can make the right decisions that will lead to success. Yeah.
Wow, a powerful one. Right. And lastly, for if you're going to suggest someone who we're going to guest in our podcast, who would that be?
If I have to suggest someone, uh, okay, I don't know why,
Right.
no particular reason at all. But
Right.
when you threw that question, I just said Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know why, but that was
So
the first thing that came into my mind.
let's put that on the record. Gene says Arnold
Go for
Schwarzenegger.
it, right? Arnold
We'll make it
Schwarzenegger one
happen.
day.
We'll make it happen. And then when it happens, we'll definitely let you know and invite you. But oh, one more
Yeah,
thing before I forget.
and make sure you tell him it was Jinka who suggested you, Arnold.
We'll definitely do. We'll definitely do. Yeah, one more thing before I forgot. In this show, we ask our guests that to tell a secret that no one knows, whether controversial, whether funny, but it's only you who knows about it. Whether in your industry or whether something in your career or something that people don't know, but will surprise them when you tell them.
A secret.
Or not necessarily a secret,
No,
but something
I
event
think
that
every no, I can't think of any. You know, what has always surprised people is when people ask me and I say no, I didn't study film, right? And I've been doing this for the longest time. I don't think that's any real secret. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
So,
okay.
sorry, I can't think of anything there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that something that we ask our guests that like, whoa,
Okay. Right.
but you already imparted so much with us today. So many
Yeah.
golden knowledge and help.
Thank you.
Can any parting words to our audience before we end?
Well, nothing in particular. I'll like to encourage people to stay curious. Right? People say curiosity killed the cat. But then a cat has 9 lives, so stay curious, right? Maybe for 8 lives. Right? Yeah, but stay curious.
Do you want to promote your social media, any new projects? Anyone might probably be watching us would be interested.
Yeah. Do watch out for Hip Studios, right? Hip Studios is my IP management company. The last deal that we had was acquiring 500 IPs, right? And we are looking for a lot more new IPs, and we're looking for people whom we can collaborate with to bring these IPs across different platforms. So anyone who wants to collaborate with us or who has IP that wants to go to different platforms to approach us.
Well, we'll put your link in our social media, and then when we post this podcast. And Jim, again from Team Clarity, and then from Function, thank you very much.
Thank you.